I want to talk about my top 10 favorite actors of all time. Let's do it.
Halloween, the night he came home.
Hello, everyone. Clay Frederick of the Horror Franchise, back at it with a brand new ranking video. It has been quite a while since I've done a ranking video. The last one I think I did was top 10 favorite games of all time, top 10 movies, somewhere in there. It's been a while. So I wanted to go back and do it again because I kind of miss doing ranking videos and I plan on doing other ones here in the future. So what better way to start it off with something new and fresh here? I wanted to talk about my top 10 favorite actors of all time. And I do plan on making a top 10 actresses. That one's going to be even harder. Oh my god. See, there's a lot of actors that I truly love, and it's not an easy list to put together. I had to spend a couple of days actually going through who were at least on from 5 to 10, but the top 5 was pretty much easy to me, but just below that was just like, oh my god. And I gotta throw in some honorable mentions here while I'm at it, because they just barely make it to the 10 spot, and I thought long and hard on this, and yeah, let's get right onto it. So I'm going to throw in some honorable mentions while we're at it. Kind of out of order here. Obviously, Morgan Freeman, man. Morgan Freeman, I love Morgan Freeman. He just barely almost made it to the 10 spot. And another one is going to be Ron Perlman. I love Ron Perlman, especially for like Sons of Anarchy. I loved him in that. There were a couple other movies I've seen him in. I've seen pieces of Hellboy. I've seen him in Alien Resurrection. I like his on-screen presence and all that. Wentworth Miller from Prison Break. I love Prison Break. And his acting in that as Michael Scofield was epic. And he jumps up there. And plus he played Chris Redfield in Resident Evil Afterlife in the Resident Evil movie live action series. I know a lot of people don't like the movies. I enjoyed him. And I think he was a great casting decision to play Chris Redfield, even though his character wasn't fully Chris Redfield. But anyways, I digress. Jake Gyllenhaal. He was another one. It sucks that I have to throw them as honorable mentions, but I have to go with what I got here. I'm going by my gut instinct. Jake Gyllenhaal is one of those actors that I just love in almost every single movie he's in. Donnie Darko, Prisoners. There's so many other movies. Oh my god, I can't even name. But anyways, moving on. Leonardo DiCaprio. He's another one. Titanic, man. The Revenant. Great movies. Django. This dude is an awesome actor. He just truly is. Robert Downey Jr., man. Iron Man. I love him. He's hilarious. I just love him. He is just awesome, dude. He truly is. He's a pure definition of a guy who went from low to high and mighty. He's truly humble about it. So, if I've used the right description of him, but still. He's an awesome guy. But let's go ahead and start with my number 10 spot. Alright. Number 10. Mel Gibson. Yes. Mel Gibson. This is a guy I grew up watching over the years. It started with The Patriot. And then Signs. We Were Soldiers I've seen once, a long time ago. And obviously he made Braveheart, and he also starred in that. And he made The Passion of the Christ, and he was Mad Max, Road Warrior. And Lethal Weapon, man. Lethal Weapon. I gotta throw in Lethal Weapon. Quite a great list of movies. Obviously, my top favorite movies of his is going to be Signs and The Patriot. Those two movies I grew up with mostly, and I just love Mel Gibson. I love his acting range. I love his on-screen presence. He's just an awesome actor. And he's a really good director, too. So we're kicking it off really good here, aren't we? So, I don't really have a whole lot to say. It's just in terms of how much I enjoy these people. And, yeah, Mel Gibson's in my number 10 spot. Number 9 is going to be Michael Caine. Talk about a classy actor, man. This dude is so classy. I love Michael Caine. Obviously, for Alfred Pennyworth in the Dark Knight trilogy. That's when I got more recognition in him. And he's done a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, and Christopher Nolan's one of my favorite directors of all time. Maybe I'll do a top directors list at some point in the future. But anyways, he was in Interstellar, The Prestige, Secondhand Lions I grew up watching. I loved that movie with Robert Duvall as well. The late and great Robert Duvall. R.I.P. man. And of course I have to bring up Jaws the Revenge. Oh my god. Jaws the Revenge. The only good part about that movie was Michael Caine. As Hoagie, man. What a name, huh? No, Michael Caine, I've always loved him, and I love every time he's on screen, he steals a show. He truly just steals a show. And every time he speaks, he just takes over the whole scene from everybody. I just love his presence. I love how classy he is and professional. And Michael Caine's awesome. I've always loved Michael Caine. And he's up in age too, so it's going to suck when he passes. Alright. This is where the list gets even harder. It really took me a little bit to really jumble these next three that I'm about to talk about. But at the end of the day, I made a decision. It could change in the future. Number 8. Tom Hardy. Even though he's this low on the list, that doesn't make him shit. All these actors are fantastic. All of them. Even upwards. Tom Hardy really became a rising star when the movie Inception came out. I'm not a big Inception fan. I've seen that movie a handful of times, and it doesn't click with me. That's the one Christopher Nolan movie that does not click with me. I know a lot of people love it. And Leonardo DiCaprio, it's got a great solid cast. It's just, the story's weird. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. That's when I recognized him. And then he was in The Dark Knight Rises. Obviously, probably the main reason why I love him so much. He's right down here looking at me funny. Oh yes, Bane is here! I was wondering what would break first. The fire rises. Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed that little impersonation of Bane. I will break you. Yeah. And then Revenant. He was awesome in The Revenant as well as Leonardo DiCaprio. He was in Mad Max Fury Road. He was in the Venom trilogy. He was in a movie called Warrior. That's a pretty good movie. It's a boxing movie. He was awesome in that. And right around he was doing that, he was getting ready to do Dark Knight Rises. So he was already had that physique ready. And he's a short guy too. But he knows how to bring on a physical presence. He knows how to pull off some great accents. He's an awesome actor. The Drop is another movie that I think is quite underrated. It's one of the last movies with James Gandolfini from The Sopranos. He was in that too. And there's another movie with Shia LaBeouf called Lawless. He was good. So he's got quite a bit of range of movies that I enjoyed, but obviously Dark Knight Rises and The Revenant are my top two favorites of his. I mean, mainly for Bane, man. Like, he was amazing as Bane. And it's just the physicality, what he did with his eyes. That was all he had to use in that movie, and I love that, his physical presence and all that. And that's why Tom Hardy's in my top 10, man. Like, it just goes to show he can transform into somebody like that. And he's such a nice guy in real life, too. But yeah. All right, now these top two that I'm about to tell from number 6 and 7, they were very hard to pick. But I'm going with God next week here. Number 7, Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. Talk about a guy who was possibly born to play this role. Andrew Lincoln, when I first saw The Walking Dead, I immediately clicked with this guy. And it makes sense. You know, you got to click with the main protagonist of a show or a movie. But there was something about his crying. I gotta talk about the way he gets emotional as shit when especially for Rick. That's the only thing I know him of. I've seen, he's in a couple other things. He's even in this little miniseries that came out. I forgot the name. But Rick, just alone, The Walking Dead as Rick Grimes, truly just. This dude knows how to break down. He's the only person that can cry and make me want to cry. That's how damn good he is at this. And it ain't just that. It's just, he's just an overall fantastic actor. And his role as Rick Grimes, that was enough right there for me. And it sucked when he left the show. That episode, I was bawling like a baby when he left. The Walking Dead was never the same after he left. And it was great to see him in The Ones Who Live as well. So there's not really much I could say. It's just the way his chemistry with everybody's great. He steals the show every time he's on screen. And he's the main protagonist and all. But just the way he portrayed Rick Grimes, man, was just amazing. And the fact that when he gets emotional, you just feel it, man. It's deep. It is deep, man. And because of that, he earns a top 10. Number 6. This one's probably going to be a hot take. But number 6 is Jon Bernthal. From The Walking Dead, mostly, as Shane Walsh. But I got to bring in some honorable mentions. I've only seen pieces of The Punisher. And I've seen that he was great as The Punisher. Frank Castle's his name. He was in a movie called Fury. I've only seen it once. He was good in that. And he was in the very first thing I saw him in was Oliver Stone's World Trade Center movie with Nicolas Cage. And I remember seeing him in that. And then years would go by. I first get into The Walking Dead. And I remember looking at him and I'm thinking, man, I recognize this guy from something. And then while time goes on, I'm like, oh, he was in World Trade Center. But there was something about Jon Bernthal playing as Shane that truly just, I had a grasp on his character and his story. I related to him in a sense. Maybe it's because how, well, Laurie treated him. And, you know, I relate to that because women treat me like shit when I pour my heart out to them. And so, yeah, whatever. That's all I'm going to say about that. But no, just the way he portrayed Shane in that show was epic. Like, from those first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead, they're personally my 2 favorite seasons in the show. And it's mainly because of Jon Bernthal as Shane. It's just his acting presence. And the fact that he's nothing like that character in real life. He's actually a genuinely really good person in real life. And Jon Bernthal's character as Shane truly was the definition of a tragic character. He really was a good guy. It's just getting caught in with the love triangle with Rick and Laurie after presumably thinking Rick was dead, and Rick comes back to the group, and Laurie messing with Shane's head. Oh, I don't want you here. Oh, maybe I do want you here. Shit like that. Anyways, but we're not talking about just that. But it was just the way he portrayed Shane that I had a connection with. His character impacted me pretty hard. And it's because of his character, and Rick Grimes, of course, that I grew to love The Walking Dead so much. Mainly from season 2. That's where his character truly shined. And there was also a little show that came out called His and Hers with Tessa Thompson. And it just came out, I think, this year or last year. It's brand new. He was pretty good in that. And I really enjoyed him in that. But no, Jon Bernthal, he just... an actor that definitely impacted me in a way that I just didn't expect. And he just barely makes it over Andrew Lincoln. So, there's that. Alright, now we're on my top 5. This was where the list was pretty much just set in stone for me. We're done with the hard stuff. We're into the easy one. Number 5 is an actor, a superstar that I've loved since I was a kid. I grew up with this guy. And he's such an inspirational figure. That being Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. The dude... There's a documentary that came out. It was called Arnold. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend you watch that because there's a lot of stuff I didn't know about him until I saw that and was like, I love him even more because of it. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the pure definition of a guy. If you're a person who doubts doing anything or accomplishing anything, he did it. He did it. And it ain't just that. He's been in such iconic movies, some not so great, That being, of course, the Terminator. He's the Terminator, man. He was born to play that role. He was in Predator, Total Recall, Commando, True Lies, Conan the Barbarian before Terminator, and Batman and Robin, What Killed the Dinosaurs, The Ice Age. Oh, Jesus, horrible. Oh, horrible. God, that movie sucks. Anyways, no, man, like, he was an action star, and he was a superstar. He was the star. He went from being the bodybuilder, man, the bodybuilder, from Mr. Olympic to Mr. Universe, to being an action star in Hollywood, to being in politics as the governor of California. And he did it. He was at the top of his game in his prime back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s and all that. That just... And the fact that I grew up with this guy, he was possibly my very first favorite actor ever, as far as I can think back. I think at one point at school, I had an essay, who was your favorite actor? I wrote down Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was the first person that came to mind. I remember, it's just things like that I remember of. But no, Arnold Schwarzenegger, definitely one of the most inspirational figures. And he truly, every time I see his documentary about Arnold, it was like, yeah, I could do some things like, I could probably do things myself. Hell, YouTube's one of them. I'm doing it. Thanks, Arnold. So, yeah. Without a doubt, Arnold Schwarzenegger breaks that middle ground. Now we'll get to the top 4 here. Number 4 is a guy, this actor, talk about a professional actor here. This dude, I got a lot of respect for this man, and it's Christian Bale. Christian Bale, obviously, the main reason is because he's Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight trilogies, specifically Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, are literally my top 3 favorite movies of all time. And he was Batman. He's my Batman. A lot of people could say Michael Keaton may be a lot of people's Batman from back in the day. Me, Christian Bale, dude. But no, he was in a movie called Terminator Salvation. He was probably the best part next to Sam Worthington in Terminator Salvation. That's a controversial movie, but you know, I think he was great as John Connor. God, my brain doesn't work today. He was in a movie called The Prestige. He was great in that. American Psycho. I've seen that movie once. Not my favorite movie in the world, but he was awesome in that role. The Fighter, his Oscar-worthy performance with Mark Wahlberg. He was great in that movie. Public Enemies, man, with John Dillinger and all that. He's an awesome actor. I love his presence. I love his on-screen presence. I love his acting range. I love how he can transform his body and all that from going huge to little and all that. He went from a movie called The Machinist, I think it was called, where he was super skinny and he bulked up for Batman afterwards. I got my stuff all mixed up, but the dude commits to his roles and he takes it very professional, and that's why he's in my number 4 spot. All right, now we're at the top 3. Number 2 and 3 definitely jumble back and forth a lot. And it's very hard, but because of that, I'm going to go ahead and just go with it. And number 3 is going to be Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage. I grew up with Nicolas Cage a little bit. I've always loved Nicolas Cage. This dude, another professional actor as well. And he's been in so many damn movies, I swear. He was in a movie called Leaving Las Vegas, which I finally just watched, I think, last year. And that was his Oscar-worthy performance. Dude, talk about portraying a drunk in such a real way. God, it made me feel uneasy. He was in a movie called Face Off with John Travolta, National Treasure. He was Ghost Rider. I don't care about Ghost Rider very much, but hey, it's Nicolas Cage, man. I've only seen that movie once. He was in City of Angels. I really like City of Angels with, what's her name? Anyways, there was another movie called Joe. That is probably one of my favorite movies that he's in. And he was really good in that. But obviously, most notably for me, it's going to be World Trade Center with Oliver Stone's World Trade Center. I've already mentioned it before with John Bernthal. That's probably my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. And because World Trade Center is literally my top 10 favorite movies of all time, and you already know what that's about if you're familiar with the name World Trade Center, it's about 9/11 and the Twin Towers. So, if you guys didn't know, I'm heavily into the events of 9/11 and the World Trade Center Twin Towers. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't go into politics. I don't consider that political, but I'm just getting my point across. But no, him playing John McLaughlin in World Trade Center, I just really liked him in that movie. And I just love Nicolas Cage overall. Nicolas Cage is awesome. Not really much to say. He's been in a lot of movies, and I get enjoyment every time I see him on screen. Number 2, Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks has been in some of the most greatest movies ever. That being Forrest Gump. Literally top 10 movies of all time for me. Forrest Gump I grew up with. Tom Hanks was born to play Forrest Gump. My mama always said that life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Lieutenant Dan, you got magic legs. Like, talk about iconic, man. Oscar worthy, totally. That alone, he earns in my top 3 spot. Saving Private Ryan, that's probably my favorite war movie ever. Saving Private Ryan is an epic war movie by Steven Spielberg. The Green Mile, another, in my top 20 favorite movies of all time. Philadelphia, he was great in that with Denzel Washington about AIDS and homophobics and homosexuality, all that stuff. If you're familiar with the movie Philadelphia, it's a great movie, and Tom Hanks was awesome in that. If you're not, check it out. Castaway, he was great in Castaway. Toy Story as Woody, come on now. And Road to Perdition, I think, is an underrated movie. Thomas Newman's music, that's how I was introduced to his music. He's my favorite music composer of all time. The cinematography is great. It's about the mafia kind of story, and it was great. Tom Hanks, he's been in some great movies. And I just love his acting. That's all there is to it. Now we get to my number 1. My number 1. Some of you may already know this, but a lot of you probably don't. This was an actor that truly just impacted me in a way I never expected. Heath Ledger. And I'll tell you why. I've seen his filmography after The Dark Knight and his role as the Joker. His role as the Joker in The Dark Knight, not only do I think it was the greatest performance in a movie, but I think that was the greatest performance I have seen, bar none, period. Why so serious? His role as a Joker impacted me in a way when I was going through change in my life, and this was during my teenage years. I was just getting into high school. I have not seen the movie at all in theaters. Before The Dark Knight, I liked Batman, but I wasn't a hardcore Batman fan. I was more into Spider-Man at the time. When it came out on DVD in December, I believe I looked up, in 2008, it was definitely winter time when I got it. My grandpa got it for me. We were at Big Lots, I think. We just saw it there. And I watched it, and that's when I became a hardcore Batman fan. And I became a hardcore Joker fan. Yes. Just go from a character like that. You look back, movies like 10 Things I Hate About You, The Patriot, A Knight's Tale, which I finally got to see for the first time on Hulu several months ago, and that was a damn good movie. Monsters Ball. He only had a small screen time in that, but his role in that movie was effective for the story with Halle Berry and Billy Bob Thornton. Check that movie out if you're interested. And of course, Brokeback Mountain. He was great in Brokeback Mountain. When I first saw that movie, I didn't, because of all the criticisms and all the people making fun of it and all that, for all the gay stuff that happens, and it's like gay cowboy movie and all that. Look beyond that, because I've watched this movie many times afterwards over the years, and I gave it more chances. And I gotta tell you, that's a great movie. It has a great story. It's got a great mood and atmosphere. It's got a great cast of characters, like actors in it, and just that's a phenomenal movie. Truly is. And Heath Ledger propelled it. Jake Gyllenhaal propelled it. And then there was a movie I've never seen, I would like to see down the road. It's called The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. That was the last movie Heath Ledger was in. He only got halfway done with it, something like that. Before Johnny Depp and other people came in and had to refill his role. But no, his performance as the Joker just inspired me as a filmmaker and an actor in such a way. During my high school years, particularly my first year in my high school, I did some questionable things, dressing up as the Joker and pulling some crazy stunts. Nothing too extreme, in case you worry. The past is the past. And I got myself in trouble a little bit because of that. But, I mean, I'm pretty much known as the Joker or the Terminator because I dressed up as a Terminator all black. And I was going through a dark phase in my life, and I was going a rebellious teenage, you know how it is, the rebellious teenager crap. And I look back on that, and it's quite memorable in a positive and in a negative way. It doesn't bother me, but it's just memorable. And it inspired me to do things that are inspired by that I won't get into in this video at all. But no, yeah, I'm trying to get my point across why Heath Ledger's at my top. He's just the dude. Another reason why I love Heath Ledger so much is because every single movie he's in, like everybody else, they play similar roles. Heath Ledger did every single role differently. He wanted the challenge. He gave his heart and soul out with every performance. And he did it with such class. He did it with such professionalism. And he did it with so much joy and fun. And he had a great time doing it. And even playing as the Joker, you can tell he was hardcore passionate for that role. I know there's a lot of criticisms about whether he died because of the role. No, he didn't die because of the Joker role. He just couldn't sleep. That was as simple as it can be. I love how when there's always something that happens, people always have to make it complicating and always have to make it blown out of proportion. Oh, it's because of this and that. Has anyone ever considered the fact that maybe the simplest things can cause such catastrophic things to happen? Heath Ledger just couldn't sleep. He had severe insomnia. His mind was racing, but his body was exhausted. I mean, that's what Hollywood's about, right? I'm not saying Hollywood killed him. I think he was just going through some things too, with Michelle Williams and family, but the Joker didn't kill him. He was already long past the Joker when he passed, because he was working on Parnassus. And although the Joker, I think, was definitely a big portion of that because it required a lot of stamina and energy, and that drained him, I think. But still, I'm going off topic here. But Heath Ledger, he's just the greatest. Even though he's gone from this world, R.I.P. to him. Every year, the 22nd of January, I get this mood to watch his movies. Every single year. This year and last year, I did it. I was just like in the mood to watch. I was on a Heath Ledger kick. I wanted to watch his movies. And he is gone, but he won't be forgotten at all. And it clearly shows because, man, I tell you what, one of the most gifted actors, the most gifted actor I've ever seen. The fact that he takes all these roles and people judged him for playing the Joker when the movie was announced and his role was announced, people doubted him. They doubted him. A pretty boy, Australian accent and all that. Playing all these movies like Brokeback Mountain and all these other movies prior to the Joker. Nobody had a clue until the movie came out that he became arguably the best Joker ever. You can be a Jack Nicholson fan, you could be a Mark Hamill fan, but you got to give credit where it's due. There is not one discussion that I've heard where he is not at least on the top 3 best Jokers ever. Maybe top 2. He's my favorite Joker for a lot of reasons. And I've already explained some of that reasons. That's my list. Top 10 favorite actors of all time. I don't know what else to say. It was a very hard list to put together. And I had to throw in some honorable mentions while I was at it. So yeah. Yeah. There you have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this because I'm going to do an actress list as well. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.